Hey Sneako, does this outfit look familiar? This is the same thing I wore last time I took you over my knee and spanked your bottom with some discipline. And I'm happy to report that these are back in stock and a lot more at moistglobal.com. Last time I talked about you, I used you for a merchandise push as well, so might as well stick with tradition. I bet just seeing me in this attire again has just sent you on a full-blown Winter Soldier episode with your eyes rolling into the back of your skull as you're experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, because the first video I made on you offended you to such a high degree that you have not stopped whining since. It's already been 3 months, can you believe that? How time flies. You started shit with me by insulting me and my girlfriend out of nowhere, so naturally I responded by making fun of you in return, and showcasing the reasons why I don't respect you. But unfortunately I failed to calculate just how much of a sensitive fucking loser you are, because this hurt your feelings to such a high degree it's become like an Armageddon in your brain. 3 months you have continued to melt down about this. The day after I posted my response, he went on stream and had a huge unhinged tantrum and meltdown about the whole thing, and then he sent some of his viewers over. So I was joking with them, saying like, oh, you guys must have just stopped the cuties watch party over there at Sneako's stream, right? Welcome, cucks, that kind of shit. And it got really under his skin in a big way, so he started dancing around with the gun and threatening to come shoot me. So he kept saying, oh, you're in Tampa, right? I'll come see you, waving his gun around and dancing.
You wanna watch my clips? Watch my clips. Watch my clips. You want me to watch your clips? Watch my clips. These are the only clips I'm watching, you were?
Now the reason he keeps saying watch my clips while threatening me here is because during the stream I couldn't watch him live because he just kept shouting slurs. So I said, watch my clips to see what I was saying about you. I had to communicate via Twitch clips. And I'm sorry to be that guy, this is like the grammar police of guns, but he's a fucking imbecile, you absolute buffoon. What you have there is not clips. These are mags. They're mags, not clips, you absolute fucking dummy. The same way that this is also a mag. They're all mags. Stop saying clips, you look fucking stupid here. Anyway, sorry for the gun anatomy lesson. He was very upset, so he was threatening to come shoot me, beat me up, all of that, because I hurt his feelings, and it's been festering for quite some time now. 3 fucking months. You love to bitch about how everyone's canceling you. These soy boy NPC bots are all canceling you. It's all you do. You treat the teenagers in your Discord like they're your goddamn therapist. Just going in there to complain about the invisible boogeyman canceling you again, shaking your fist at the clouds. I also love that you treat this Discord server like it's your PR team, so you have them work on your responses on Twitter because you're not witty enough to come up with anything on your own. You have no ability to banter. You can't insult anyone. Anytime you're pushed, all you fall back on is one of 3 things: soy boy, bot, or NPC, and that's it. You never deviate from this path. Which is ironic, because you're like literally a sheep. You have 3 programmed responses. You're like the absolute worst character, side character in an MMO. It's pathetic. But I'm getting sidetracked. You love to be super public about how much you hate antidepressants and you shit on anyone who takes antidepressants, but with the way you talk in your Discord server, I'm pretty convinced that you're only 2 or 3 messages away from asking your community to source antidepressants for you under the table to help with all this mental anguish you're going through. And I think that'd honestly be a good idea. It might help you. But I'm putting the cart before the horse here. How did we get to this point? Well, I made that video about Sneako, and I fully planned on that being the only time I ever talked about this asshole. I really did. All I wanted to do was highlight why I personally don't respect him. I know a lot of people criticize me for not tackling his points, and to that I say, bah humbug, this fucking goober didn't make any points. All he did was insult me and my girlfriend. He insulted me and my girlfriend because I made fun of one of his friend's blatantly fake stories. He resorted to childish name-calling like, I'm ugly, and I don't go outside. That's not making any points. Like, what am I supposed to debunk there? No, actually, my mom thinks I'm handsome, and so does my girlfriend, so you're wrong, factually wrong. There's nothing to debunk. The whole point of the video was highlighting why I don't respect him. I'll go ahead and briefly give you a previously on Dragon Ball Z lore recap to bring you up to speed on the points I was making for why I think he is a pathetic piece of shit, and his opinion holds no value in my eyes. Is because he publicly defends Cuties as one of his favorite movies. Cuties was a Netflix film that used real child actresses in sexual situations, so they sexualized real children. A fact that Sneako himself acknowledges but writes off as being okay because it's realistic, because in the real world children get sexualized. I'll say it again, regardless of what the intention of the film was, they missed the mark because what ended up happening is they sexualized the child actresses. That is a problem. Full stop. Even if the message was supposed to be the opposite, they still ended up contributing to the very problem they were speaking out against.
I saw Cuties last night and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover and I got clickbaited. So did you. You got clickbaited. The thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people who are really mad about this aren't Gen Z.
Imagine claiming children in sexual positions is clickbait. Yikes. That's rough. You admit that the children were sexualized. That is bad. Okay? That means the movie failed in its mission. I don't know what you don't get about that. But regardless, I'm not here to just keep hammering home the same points. Another thing that I talked about for a reason I don't respect him is because he battles with his own sexuality. He is very public about how he used to go to these swinger parties, I think he says 4 in total over the course of like 2 weeks, where he watched his girlfriend get fucked by other men. Even telling the story of how he was literally in the bed watching his girl get fucked by a different man, moaning intensely, and it was traumatizing. Yet he recommends that everyone should try it at some point for some reason.
Because this was, imagine seeing the girl you love, like,
get fucked.
Get fucked.
You love her?
Yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah, I love her. I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, nah, let me not say that. I love my wifey, my queen.
And you allowed the love of your life to get fucked by another man.
What happened to the other agreement? Why that wouldn't last?
I'm crazy. The first time, as soon as I saw it, like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked out. I'm just like, I can't do that. Like, feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test. No! You know what?
So my point with this was, why is this the guy that's lecturing everyone on their relationships, shitting on people's relationships, when he himself is in one that makes him very upset and he can't come to terms with it? Now, if he's open about being a cuck and happy and proud to be a cuck, that's fine. But he's not. It makes him mad every single time. So why the fuck is this insecure guy the one that's the moral authority on healthy relationships all of a sudden? That was the point of me bringing up that clip. Now, that was basically the whole video. I summed it up real quick. All I pointed out is I don't respect his opinion because he defends a movie I consider to be child porn. I think any film or any production that has real children being sexualized should be classified as child porn. That's how I view it. Maybe your definition's different, but that's how I personally view that kind of content. So him defending that was beyond reprehensible to me. And him being very public with his cuckoldry and how scarring it has been, it should be a lesson and an example that he himself is not great when it comes to relationships and all these things. And I posted that and it made him extremely upset and he hasn't stopped fucking crying about it for 3 months. So, fast forward to 2 days ago. I was streaming a Moist Esports tournament and I went up to go to the bathroom. I had to take a shit. It was a double flusher. So I was on the toilet for quite some time and I saw a Sneako post that he's posted quite a few times now and I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not doing anything else right now on the porcelain throne. I'll play in the pig pen. So I did. For 3 months now, Sneako's had this adorable little collage that he made that looks like it's straight out of a 16-year-old girl's diary with pictures of boys from her class that she doesn't like. All about people that have hurt his feelings. This is his wall of shame for people that have insulted him online. What's even sadder about it is he purposely leaves out people that he's afraid of. So Turkey Tom, for example, made a whole video talking about Sneako and how pathetic he is, and Sneako tried to talk a big game to him, even challenged him to a debate, which Turkey Tom accepted with jubilation. He was ecstatic. And then Sneako kept ducking him, ghosting him. So he leaves Turkey Tom off of this list because he's afraid to actually talk to him. And he also leaves off quite a few other people, but the most notable other one that is comical for the absence is Brandon Buckingham. Brandon Buckingham is an internet content creator that Sneako lied about for a long time, and they had a lot of beef, and Brandon Buckingham actually challenged him to a fight. and Sneako is very fearful of him. We'll get into that more in depth in a moment, but I just need to set the stage a little bit here with this collage. So after seeing this for the 100th time in the last 3 months, I finally just said, "Holy shit, you pathetic, sensitive soy little worm. I made fun of you for watching your girlfriend get fucked by numerous other men and also insulted you for defending child porn. That's not cancellation, that's just spitting on you for being a pitiful sad cuck." And this puppy really blew up on Twitter in a big way. Now, I will say it again. What I did, and what I am doing right now, is not canceling you, Sneako. I am insulting you. I am making fun of you. Something that you were supposed to be a huge proponent of, right? Wasn't like one of your big things like bullying needs to be brought back. So now that I'm making fun of you, what, all of a sudden now it's off limits, now it's canceling? You have become the SJWs that you criticize so much. I don't know how you don't realize that. We continue. He says, "You know in your soul you would never say that to my face." To which I respond, "You literally have a collage of people that hurt your feelings on the internet. You haven't stopped whining about me for months now, you goofy NPC. Even if you beat my ass in a fight, it doesn't change the truth. You're still a cuck who also defends child porn." I think this is important to talk about, and I just talked about it recently. When you are getting your feelings hurt and your immediate response isn't to fire back with insults, jokes, whatever, it's to challenge someone to a fight, you've taken a huge L. You've shown that the person has got under your skin, and the only thing you can resort to is a caveman brain of, "I'll beat you in a fight." Sneako, you beating me in a fight doesn't unfuck your girlfriend from the numerous men that had sex with her in front of you. It doesn't do anything. Everything I've said still stands. Nothing changes. It doesn't even salvage your ego. All it is a pathetic fucking attempt at attention. And I don't think you believe half the things you talk about. I really think Sneako just panders as much as possible. He himself doesn't even stand by the things he talks about. I really don't think he has any beliefs of his own. He just echoes what he thinks is going to get him the biggest audience / the most money. That's what I think. So this puffing out his chest of challenging me to a fight is clearly attention. That's what it feels like. Because you don't have the same energy for Brandon Buckingham. Brandon Buckingham is more than willing to fight you any day of the week. But with him, you don't want to do that. For some reason. Why? Do you not stand by your beliefs when it comes to Brandon Buckingham? He has said all the same things about you that I am saying about you. So why is he exempt? Why don't you want to fight him? That's so weird. This is what you said about Brandon Buckingham and fighting him.
And then finally, when Brandon Buckingham is down to meet Sneako, he's there to box him. They're both similar sizes. Sneako would now rather just sit at home and tell jokes behind his computer.
I'd rather sit at home and yell at a camera, tell jokes than, risk my manhood falling flat for Brandon Buckingham, if I lose the fight.
So now it's suddenly cool to just stay at home and keep it all online.
The full video here from Willie Mack is an absolute masterpiece on laying out every pathetic thing that Sneako has ever done, said, or everything ever. So I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a banger. So, as you can see, the people he's confident in fighting are ones that he feels confident he'd win against. I'm 5'6". I think he's 6'1". So the height advantage he feels very confident with. And he has every reason to. He would probably beat me in a fight. But like I said, that doesn't change anything. Everything I've said is still true. You are a cuck, self-admitted, and you have defended cuties publicly, which, by more than just me, by many, is considered child porn. You're pathetic. Beating me in a fight doesn't change any of those facts. I've also been super vocal about how I don't want to fight. Like, I'm not afraid to say, like, I don't want to get hit in the head, right? Like, I'm afraid of taking headshots. It's probably a super normal fear to have, so I'm averse to going into a boxing match, especially one that's just a clout-driven spectacle like this. That'd be completely fucking worthless. And I've been super open about that, which I'm sure you know since you keep saying that you've watched my content, so you probably know that I was never going to accept a fight in the first place. Especially since you're, like, significantly taller than me, right? Like, it wouldn't make any sense. And even though you would probably beat me in a fight, you're certainly not beating me in, like, an aesthetic physique competition, because goddamn, I blow your ass out of the water. Look at this fucking anime character physique I'm rocking. Meanwhile, you're over here with that Abercrombie and Fitch from 1998. Now, in Sneako's credit, he did start going to the gym recently. Maybe I inspired him, and you know what? That's great. I'm glad I could have a positive impact on your life like that, Sneako. Getting into the gym is a fantastic thing, and you're gonna feel so much better. And I know you'll start seeing results soon as long as you keep at it. And then finally, our last exchange goes very similarly to the others. You're not special from the other 10 soy boys who say the same thing. If you got a problem, stop talking on the internet. Let's solve it. So I said, got your Discord still working on responses? Brother, I have no problem. You started it and I made fun of you in return. You're upset about publicly admitting to cuckoldry and get mad at me for bringing it up. You should be mad at yourself instead. Have some self-reflection. Which it's true, I don't have a problem. You literally started it, Sneako, and you even asked your audience to let me know everything you said and send me your clips. You actually asked for a response, and then got super upset when my response was a little too mean to your feelings. How is that not the ultimate cuckoldry? Like, even more so than your girl getting clapped by 1,000 men. How? Like, how can you, with a straight face, still call other people soy boys? I'm not kidding, I really didn't want to keep talking about you, but you won't stop talking and crying about me. It's sad. I understand you have a humiliation fetish, so hopefully this whole thing has helped you orgasm one more time from all of it. I don't think it's fun dunking on you, Sneako. I don't. And I'm certainly not canceling you. But you keep doing this. So you forced my hand to make fun of you again. But anyway, that's about it. See ya. I mean it when I say I didn't really want to talk about today's topic. It's just some medium rare internet beef that I think is just kind of worthless to go over, but so many people keep bringing it up to me that I feel I should at least talk about it to some extent. So I'll go ahead and cannonball into the septic tank and doggy paddle around for a bit. The main topic involves a banned YouTube creator that I'm sure you've all heard of before. His name is Sneako. A lot of people compared him to like a diet Andrew Tate. He recently got banned, and he still does make content elsewhere. And recently he started targeting me because I made jokes about his friends on the Fresh and Fit podcast, whom I think are beautiful clowns that do some very silly stuff that is entirely entertaining to make fun of. But Sneako didn't see it that way because he's a very sensitive guy, and he started writing their wieners to try and defend a blatantly outrageous story that one of them told about meeting a basketball player at a party, then being invited by that basketball player to a mansion and then fucking a ton of girls at that mansion thanks to the basketball player, which sounds like something a Tumblr account would have made up, and ending with, and everybody clapped. It was such a goofy piece of fan fiction, it felt like he was begging to be humiliated and made fun of, so I started throwing some balls at the clown and dunking them in the tank. I made a video talking and joking about it, and Sneako saw this and he wasn't too happy, so he got offended on his friend's behalf, which of course is a very alpha male thing to do. I know Sneako doesn't like that nomenclature. He never calls himself an alpha male and thinks that it belittles him, but his fan base is and has been red-pilled and thinks of him as like a no-nonsense kind of guy who tells it like it is, a man's man. And yet, Sneako cries more than a 12-year-old going through puberty and has very public temper tantrums like a child who didn't get the Spider-Man toy they wanted for Christmas. So he was upset because I was making fun of them. He then makes a big rant about me, calling me a bitch, saying all kinds of things. He doesn't really make any points, he just insults my appearance a lot and makes very bold assumptions about me not going outside and shit like that, which of course has nothing to do with anything I was saying, nor does it debunk any of my points. Not that I was even really making points, I was just making jokes about a silly fucking story, and he's taking it as if I just gave a TED Talk on monogamy, because for some reason he somehow gets lost in like this Winter Soldier episode, like this delusional fantasy, where he starts making a statement on monogamy, which of course had nothing to do with the video I made.
I'm not gonna say names. Someone texted me. He's in a monogamous relationship. This is his girl. So there you go. I mean, I told you, like, I could hear it in your voice. The fact that someone doesn't have to abide by those rules. Someone could go and fuck a lot of bitches. That it's so foreign to a lot of people's ideas, because when you get brainwashed, when you get told that monogamy is the answer.
What the fuck are you even talking about? What does this have to do with anything? What does bringing up a picture of me and my girlfriend have anything to do with anything that has happened? And where is monogamy even coming from? You're fighting an invisible enemy right now. You're fighting ghosts that aren't real. Like, none of this had anything to do with the video itself of me joking about a stupid fucking story that this guy told. Like, it's so weird, and he's been mad ever since, as I understand it. I, of course, don't really watch him, but I keep getting updates on Sneako not being happy, wiggling his finger saying, I don't really like this Charlie guy anymore for this. Now, like I said, because so many people keep bringing this up to me every day, I felt obligated to at least you know, talk about this a little bit and engage with the drama, even though I don't really want to. What I do want to talk about, though, is the Black Friday Moist Global merch sale, baby. A lot of great merch on moistglobal.com is a lot of money off right now, so go to moistglobal.com to get some fucking beautiful items, and we even have some really fun, goofy ones that are in stock right now, such as this wonderful Happy Coat, which is kind of like a bathrobe. It's fantastic. And we also have some Yu-Gi-Oh! Inspired designs available right now as well, which are just fun items, and once all of these are sold out, they won't be restocked, so if you're at all interested, go to moistglobal.com, the link's in the description. I'm gonna keep this on for the rest of the video. The only thing I'm missing now is a cigar, so really get into character here. I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit more about this. I'm pretty familiar with Sneako, probably more so than a lot of his more modern fan base is. I first became aware of his content when he got mad at me a couple years ago because I was criticizing a movie called Cuties. For those that don't know, Cuties was a movie that went to Netflix, and it was basically just softcore child porn. It was a movie that focused on twerking and a coming-of-age film that used real children in real positions of, like, sexualization, where during, like, a twerking contest, they'd have cameras that would go, like, right into their ass and zoom in. It was fucking disgusting stuff. And I made a whole video talking about how fucked up it is that not only does it exist, but Netflix has promoted it and it's on their service. Regardless of what the intention was or what the message aimed to deliver from the director, it completely missed the mark. By using real child actors and doing the things that they did in the film, it became a movie that was only enjoyed by legitimate, real, self-admitted pedophiles. And I made a video talking about how gross that whole situation was, and Sneako made a response to it saying that the outrage around this film is misplaced, and it's actually a good movie.
Americans are like, this is deplorable. I saw this commentator, Penguinz0, who I actually like. There's not a lot of good commentators, but he's like, this movie is deplorable. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing. And it's like he didn't even watch the movie. It's just like he only saw the clips that were going to piss him off. Or he just got so triggered by the provocative imagery that he just, deplorable. Come on, man. Like, don't you see the reasons why she's doing what she's doing?
Sneako has said multiple times, even in his most recent rant, that he does like my content, though I'm pretty sure he just says that to cushion the blow and, like, tiptoe around it, like, before insulting me. Just in case there's anyone in his chat that likes my content, he wants to make sure to not make them upset, so he makes sure to preface it by saying, well, I actually do like him, but... and then goes on to get super personal about it. This was my first real exposure to Sneako, and it's also the reason I don't care what his opinion is of me, because it's coming from a man who likes cuties. So why the fuck would it matter if he thinks I'm a bitch or anything like that? It legitimately couldn't mean less coming from a guy who openly defends a softcore child porn production.
Okay, if I ever wanted to get canceled, this is the video. I saw Cuties last night and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover and I got clickbaited. So did you. You got clickbaited. The thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people who are really mad about this aren't Gen Z.
Now, the reason I'm showing this isn't just to debate a multiple-year-old Sneako video that he completely ate shit on and had the worst possible take of with this whole cutie situation. The reason I'm showing this is because I haven't liked him since I saw this side of him. I was aware that he made other content, and apparently some of it was pretty good a couple years back, but once I saw this video, it just showed me a really weird guy who it seemed like really just wanted to be contrarian for the sake of it and makes terrible points in defense of this film for some reason. Like, even in your own video, you openly admit right there that yes, it sexualizes children. Full stop, that's not okay. That's a problem.
Like, this girl, at one point, she takes a picture of her vagina and posts it on Instagram. Kids naturally just rebel. I like this movie because it's extremely provocative, but it's realistic. A major criticism of this film was that it's child porn, that they were just showing these kids and that it's gonna bring a bunch of pedophiles in. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not more than anything else that's on the internet now, or not more than beauty pageants in America, which still exist and are exactly what you see in the film.
Do you go to beauty pageants to watch the kids, Sneako? I certainly hope not. Just because the beauty pageants, which are fucked up, completely agree, just because those exist in the real world doesn't mean that that's justification for this movie. I feel like that should be obvious. You can't use this whataboutism like, oh yeah, Cuties has a lot of sexualization of children, but What about, you know, child beauty pageants? I mean, those are out there in the real world, so what's wrong with cuties being on Netflix? I won't show you any more from this video, it's dog shit all across the board, but there is one more thing I'd like to highlight. Even when Sneako started to rise to popularity, I didn't pay too much attention because, again, in my mind, he will always be that guy that for some reason fights for this film, which is just fucking weird. So he's always just been kind of a weird person to me that I don't pay too much attention to, but I couldn't help but take notice of one of his more recent viral clips where he openly defends getting cucked.
So I wanted to break this down, like, because this was, imagine seeing the girl you love, like,
get fucked.
Get fucked.
You love her?
Yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah, I love her. I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, nah, let me not say that. I love my wifey, my queen.
And you allowed the love of your life to get fucked by another man.
What happened to the other agreement?
I'm crazy.
The first time, as soon as I saw it, like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked out. I'm just like, I can't do that. Like, feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test. I know. You know what?
It is a legitimately super sad thing to sit there and listen to because Sneako is very clearly bothered by that whole situation, but is trying to play it off like a deeper message, like, no, this is actually a good thing, and in fact, I recommend every guy out there try letting their girl get fucked by another man. Then you'll know if it's real, if this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. It is fucking tragic to listen to. Now, I want to be clear, I have absolutely no problem with open relationships. I think everyone should be completely within the right to handle their relationships however they see fit and whatever makes them happiest. Contrary to what Sneako thinks about me, I have legitimately no issue with open relationships at all. But what Sneako's talking about here isn't so much an open relationship, it's cuckoldry. You have watched your girl get fucked in front of you on at least 2 occasions that he talks about here. And you were right next to her, watching her get fucked, and one time you were so upset about it you had to leave the room after the 3rd pump, you said. You're clearly not really alright with this situation. You're for some reason forcing yourself to be okay with it. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be an armchair psychologist like you try to do against me during your rants, but it really seems like you don't like it. And yet, for some reason, you're also trying to celebrate it and promote it like a good thing. It's just super sad. Like, if you're fucking other girls and she's fucking other guys, that's one thing, but you being in the same bed that she is fucking another man in and watching her, and then even talking about how, like, upset you were about how much she was moaning and the deep eye contact she was making with the man she was fucking in front of you, like, you're not really okay with it sounds like. So stop trying to pretend to be, and stop trying to make it seem like this is a good, healthy thing for everyone that everyone needs to try. It's just pretty sad. So this is always in the back of my mind when he starts critiquing my relationship, or really any relationship for that matter. Like, what really gives you the right, especially when you're clearly in a very complicated situation in your own mind with your relationship? So, like I said, I didn't really want to talk about this, but he apparently keeps shitting on me and making a big hoopla about it, and people keep bringing it up to me, so I felt like I should at least address it in some capacity. So this is me talking about it, and that's about it. So yeah. Wow. What a crazy day this has been. So I'm sure pretty much all of you that clicked on this video already know about what's happened with the Dr. Disrespect situation. To catch you up to speed with the briefest previously on Dragon Ball Z recap, Dr. Disrespect was the face of Twitch. In 2020, he was mysteriously banned from the platform and not a peep had ever been uttered about why. This was a secret more guarded than the Krabby Patty formula. I really thought we'd never know the reason that Dr. Disrespect was banned. I thought that'd be taken to the grave. I thought we'd crack faster than light travel before we ever learned what the reason behind it was. But then from out of nowhere on just an average quiet Friday night, a former Twitch employee dropped a bombshell allegation claiming that Dr. Disrespect was banned due to sexting a minor through the Twitch Whisper service. Now, there was never any screenshots or evidence provided to support that claim. However, some other parties came forward saying that they had all heard a similar reason behind the ban. Dr. Disrespect then made a response to that statement, which was less than satisfactory for most people with a functioning frontal lobe because he talked very vaguely about it and didn't actually outright deny the claim at all. So then he made a follow-up statement which aimed to provide a little more clarity, but it was still pretty vague, and both of these seemed to have like a lot of legalese talk to him to try, like, kind of tiptoe around the topic itself. So both of his responses, like the tweets, weren't received overly well. It was like he just kept stepping on a rake like in a cartoon and hitting himself in the face. He wasn't doing himself favors with his statements. But then the credibility of the source of behind this allegation started to be called into question because people did digging through their Twitter and found out they'd actually been dangling this carrot in front of their audience about they know the reason Dr. Disrespect's been banned, and if you buy tickets to their concert, they might reveal it. So then people started to question that, and then today, Dr. Disrespect released another statement where he admitted to the claim of talking to a minor through Twitch whispers inappropriately. However, he denies that there was any real intent behind the messages, which is a crazy thing to say. Like, if any of you have watched To Catch a Predator, you'll recognize that tactic, that little maneuver right there, because that's something that was pretty frequent on that show. When a predator went down and talked with Chris Hansen, a lot of them said that same thing pretty much. Like, oh, no, I didn't mean any of that. I was actually just teaching them a lesson about talking to strangers and the dangers of it. There was never any real intent behind the things that were said. Like, that's a very weird thing to try and say. So let's just go through his statement first, though. The Twitch ban. Hello, I'd like to make a statement. Let's cut the bullshit. As you know, there's no filter with me. I've always been upfront and real with you guys on anything that I can be upfront about, and I'm always willing to accept responsibility, which is why I'm here now. First and foremost, I do want to apologize to everyone in my community, as well as those close to me, my team, and everyone at Midnight Society Game Studio. For those that don't know, I forgot to mention this in my lore exposition on this. His company that he founded, Midnight Society Game Studio, which had been working on a game with him for a long time, announced yesterday that they were going to be terminating him after they conducted an investigation, and after they assumed his innocence, found something through their investigation that made them uncomfortable keeping him around, so they let him go. So that's why he's mentioning them here. A lot of people have been left in the dark about what happened yesterday with Midnight Society and we made the painful decision collectively to have me step down. Our team is full of incredibly talented and good people that have high career ambitions and families. I'd never want to jeopardize the culture we have carefully crafted. Now, before getting into the rest of this, I do want to mention, Midnight Society themselves said that he was terminated. Here he's saying that he stepped down like it was a mutual decision. I don't know if this is like a you can't fire me, I quit type of situation, you know, turn in the badge and the gun and go your separate way as a lone wolf, or what? Like, there's just a bit of a discrepancy whether he was terminated by Midnight Society or if he himself and them left on good terms where he agreed to step down. Ultimately, the point is, he's no longer associated with that studio anymore after they conducted their own investigation into this subject. Everyone has been wanting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside of my control, I was not allowed to say anything for the last several years. Now that 2 former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can now tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened, no pictures were shared, no crimes were committed, I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear, it was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me. Now, the doc actually edited this statement twice. So initially, he posted it with the word minor in it, saying, were there messages with an individual minor? The answer is yes. But then shortly after he published it, he edited the word minor out of it. So he removed that. He redacted it like a fucking CIA document, trying to bury it, just snapping it out of existence. So then it read, were there messages with an individual? The answer is yes. But people were quick to notice the edit, and you can actually check edit history on Twitter, which I didn't know you can do, but you could clearly see that the original no longer matched the current one because he took the word minor out. So when people caught him red-handed, he just edited it one more time to put the word minor back into it. Now, there is a lot to say about just that small chunk right there, but I'm going to finish reading the statement first before we really dive into the weeds of it. Now, from a moral standpoint, I'll absolutely take responsibility. I should have never entertained these conversations to begin with. That's on me. That's on me as an adult, a husband, and a father. It should have never happened. I get it. I'm not perfect, and I'll fucking own my shit. This was stupid. Now, with all this said, don't get it mistaken. I've seen all the remarks and labels being thrown around so loosely. Social media is a destruction zone. I'm no predator or pedophile. Are you kidding me? Anyone that truly knows me knows where I stand on these things with those type of people. Fuck that. That's a different level of disgust that I hate even hearing about. Don't be labeling me as the worst of the worst with your exaggerations. Get the fuck out of here with that. But I think I've said what I needed to say regarding the ban itself. That's it. That's why Twitch made the decision in 2020. To my team, community, industry friends that have supported me, I apologize. I wish I could have said all this sooner. You guys have always shown me and my family love and support throughout all these years. We love you guys like you can't imagine. I have the best community and circle. If any of this has made you uncomfortable, I get it. You don't have to support me anymore, but just know you have always been greatly appreciated. Trust me when I say this. To all my haters that live and breathe social media with zero real-life experience, I don't give a fuck about you. Finally, if you're uncomfortable with this entire statement and think I'm a piece of shit, that's fine. I'm not going anywhere. Actual Wolf of Wall Street energy. I'm not fucking leaving. And I'm not the same guy that made this statement all those years ago. I'm taking an extended vacation with my family as mentioned on stream, and I'm coming back with a heavy weight off my shoulders. They want me to disappear. Yeah, fucking right. He tries to close this statement with a really hard, cheesy 80s action movie one-liner. They want me to disappear. Yeah, fucking right. Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should. You're lucky you didn't blow the welds off the intake. I'm not leaving. It's really kind of ridiculous to put that there with accusations like this. These are super serious. Like, this isn't something people take lightly at all. In his own statement, he has openly admitted to messaging a minor and had conversations that were inappropriate, or as he said, leaned into being inappropriate. Now, what's not clear, and what a lot of people are coping with, is that maybe Dr. Disrespect didn't know the age of the person he was communicating with. But I truly feel if that was the case, Dr. Disrespect would have mentioned that, saying that he had those communications with this person that he believed was of age but turned out to be a minor. I think if that was the reality of that situation, if he truly communicated with someone that he thought was of age but turned out to be a minor, I think he would have mentioned that in this statement, but he didn't. He didn't say that he was under the impression he was communicating with an adult. He just says that he had conversations with an individual minor. He doesn't say anything like, oh, they were actually one day away from being 18, or I really thought they were, you know, in their 20s, or anything like that. And I think if that was what happened, it would have been mentioned here. I really do. But there's no mention of that. So it's hard to give that benefit of the doubt that he didn't know, because I think he would have mentioned if that was the case. I also think it's pretty telling that some of the closest people to Dr. Disrespect are coming forward saying how unacceptable it was and distancing themselves from him, because if he didn't know that he was communicating with a minor, he probably would have told them at the very least, but they're not saying that either. So here's Robert Bowling, one of his business partners here, saying, if you inappropriately message a minor, I cannot work with you, period. I promised to only act on facts, and I did. So I just really don't think there's a whole lot of wiggle room about Doc not knowing that he was communicating with a minor. Like, I feel like there's been plenty of opportunities now for that information to have come out from somewhere, but nobody is saying that other than people theorizing and hoping that maybe that's the case. But Doc himself has never said that that was a possibility. He'd never even hinted that he didn't know the person's age, and the people closest to him aren't saying that either. So I really think that it's likely that he did know that, and he still had these conversations that lean to being inappropriate with someone he knew to be a minor, which is fucking disgusting. Now, there are people still defending this, saying, well, he didn't go to jail for it, so what's the big deal? Can't wait for the next stream, Doc. Firm handshakes. Like, there's people that are just dismissing this as not a big deal, which is insanity. I think that is pure lunacy. I can't fucking believe some of what I'm reading here from people that are just writing this off as not a big deal because it's a streamer they like. An adult communicating inappropriately with a minor is bad. Full stop. It's inexcusable. No matter how you spin it, that is a horrible thing. Now, he may not have met up with the minor in question. However, was that his decision? Was he the one that decided not to meet up with him? Because with the information that's been come out, now, again, keep in mind, we don't have access to the chat log, like the conversations that took place, but from all the sources that have come out from, like, Bloomberg and all of that, it sounds like the conversation they had did talk about meeting up at TwitchCon. So, that right there shows pretty real intent to meet up with this person. And who knows, maybe it was the minor that ultimately got uncomfortable with this whole thing and called it off, not the doc. We don't know for sure. The only thing we do know for sure with what the doc just confirmed is that he was talking inappropriately with a minor, which is a terrible, terrible thing. And even his closest friends are saying they can't defend it, it's inexcusable. And they're right. It is inexcusable. But there are still people trying to defend it, as pathetic as that is. And Dr. Disrespect claims that he's going to come back at some point. And I have no doubt when he does, he's still going to have a massive audience. I can already tell, based on the amount of people jumping through hoops trying to find ways of justifying this and spinning it in ways where he doesn't look evil. Which is impossible, but they're doing their best. So I know when he comes back, he will probably have tons of viewers and tons of donations out the fucking wazoo, saying things like, keep your head up, Doc, don't let cancel culture get you down. It's just a fucking cancel culture mob that came after you. You're a victim of that mob, that's it. Which is just so unhinged. He has openly admitted, in his own words, to inappropriately talking to a minor. It's just craziness. So, that's the update to this whole Dr. Disrespect ban situation. That's really about it. So yeah. There are some questions we may never know the answer to. What happens when we die? What came before the Big Bang? Why am I so short? Why did Dr. Disrespect get banned from Twitch at the height of his popularity in 2020? Dr. Disrespect was the face of Twitch, one of the largest streamers on the platform and one of the largest streamers just in general in the world, and out of nowhere in 2020 he received a permanent ban with no elaboration from Twitch's side nor his. Though he has been somewhat vocal about suing Twitch as a result of getting banned, but he's never explained what the ban was for in the first place. So it's always just been this mystery that's plagued the minds of scholars for the last 4 years. A mystery on par with Area 51. And now, last night, there was a new development in this situation. Now, I want to be very clear, these are still allegations here, but a former Twitch employee on a random Friday night just came out and dropped a fucking bombshell claiming that Dr. Disrespect got banned because he was caught sexting a minor using the Twitch Whisper system and trying to meet up with them at TwitchCon. An extremely surprising statement that jump-scared the entire streaming community. Like, first of all, I didn't even know people used the Twitch Whisper system. That, in and of itself, was a shock. Twitch Whispers is more archaic than AIM and more useless than flavored toilet paper. It hardly functions. It's a joke of a messaging service. But anyway, these are obviously massive allegations against Dr. Disrespect. Now, they didn't provide any evidence or proof of the claims. However, a lot of other parties, like journalists, came forward saying that they had heard similar things from Twitch employees. Like, their trusted sources had told them similar stories about the reason behind Dr. Disrespect's ban. But again, no evidence has been provided publicly for all of this. Right now, it's just a lot of people saying, like, this is what we heard too. Dr. Disrespect did reply to a tweet talking about it a little bit, saying, Jake, seriously, I get it. It's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract. The vast majority of people were pretty unsatisfied with that response from the doc because it's a bunch of hooey, like mumbo-jumbo legal lawyer speak that doesn't actually say anything. Like, instead of saying he didn't do what the claims are, like he didn't sext a minor, he said no wrongdoing was acknowledged, not that no wrongdoing happened. And then mentions that Twitch paid out the whole contract. Which I think the reason he threw that in there is to try and illustrate that Twitch ended up settling with him and paid out his whole contract, which must mean that he was in the right legally, I think is what he's getting at, but it's so obtuse and still doesn't shut down the claim that has been made against him. So most people were left scratching their head wondering, well, is it true or not? So about an hour ago, he did make a follow-up tweet here saying, listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say what I can since this is the fucking internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled, nothing illegal, no wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. Elden Ring Monday. He definitely provides a little more clarity with this statement. However, I have to wonder what legal obligations have got him like fucking strangled like Homer Simpson around Bart Simpson's neck that are preventing him from just saying he didn't sext a minor if he didn't. He's still kind of talking around it, saying it's been probed and settled, nothing illegal, no wrongdoing was found, he was paid. Instead of just like outright coming out with a fucking iron fist saying, this is baloney, this is a load of horseradish, absolute fish paste, that's not true. whatever this legal settlement with Twitch was in the Thunderdome here, it's prevented him from being able to talk directly about this claim, it seems, which is so fucking odd. Now, I think it's important I mention just how uncommon it is for Twitch to permanently ban a streamer of any size, period. That's more rare than a total solar eclipse. It just doesn't happen often at all. There was a streamer who went live and she goatsied herself directly at the camera on Twitch, only got a 72-hour ban. A year or two ago, there was a streamer who had full-blown sex on stream and she only got a 72-hour ban. There's so many streamers that also have like 10 or even 12 bans to their name and still get to stream on Twitch without issue. So a permaban doesn't happen often, and it certainly doesn't happen often to the biggest streamer on their platform, and Dr. Disrespect was under a big contract with Twitch at the time of his ban. So for them to permanently ban him at the height of his popularity while he was the face of their platform with a big contract from them, it had to be something big. And the theory I subscribe to, and the most commonly accepted theory for why he was banned, was that it must have been some kind of big contract dispute. This time period was a wacky one, quite quirky for sure. It's when Mixer was still around, God rest its soul. It went out with a sad, pathetic whimper, a little wet fart into the wind, but at the time, it was a juggernaut, and it was scaring Twitch. It had recently bought Ninja off of Twitch to Mixer, it bought Shroud, and there was a little bit of a panic from Twitch, who then started issuing massive contracts to streamers on their platform to keep them there and away from Mixer. So the idea was that maybe Dr. Disrespect was talking with Mixer about a huge contract buyout, and it pissed Twitch off, so they banned him and wiped their ass with that contract, which led to Dr. Disrespect suing them for it, but Twitch in the settlement made sure that he kept his mouth shut about it. That was the main theory most people believed, again, myself included, and now this has come out. And again, there's no evidence to support the claims, but with a handful of other people coming forward saying they heard a similar reason behind his ban, it's got a lot of people believing that it must be accurate. Now, if it is true, it does also make Twitch look pretty bad here, in my opinion, because this is a situation that deals with child safety on their platform, and if the face of their platform was sexting a minor through their Whispers service, I think Twitch has a responsibility to explain what they're going to do going forward to ensure that kind of shit doesn't happen again. Though I guess there could again be some real fucky nonsense in the legal proceedings that followed. I have no clue, really. But in the event that it is true, it still makes it seem like Twitch was covering up for the face of their platform being a predator. And that's not a good look for Twitch. So I guess it's also possible that Twitch wanted to bury this as well to not take some kind of reputational hit in the public eye. Especially, I guess, during 2020 when Mixer was around. So I guess that's possible. I do, however, think now that this allegation has come out, whether it's true or false, I think this is going to be the start of the information around the ban coming forward, either from Twitch or Dr. Disrespect here, because this is such a massive allegation. So someone's going to come forward to set the record straight one way or the other is what I think will probably happen here, but I could be totally wrong. It could be another 4 fucking years before there's even a peep about the Dr. Disrespect Twitch ban mystery. But something I've seen a lot of other people talking about is they're surprised that Twitch was reading Whispers in the first place. I don't think anyone should be caught off guard by that. In the current day and age, everything you send through any service can easily be accessed by that service and is most likely being accessed by that service. All of your data is constantly being harvested and sold. I thought everyone knew that by this point. So in this case, Twitch having access to the Whispers and reading them and then taking action from them isn't like an unheard of concept at all. It's just a matter of not that's the reality of what happened, if this is a true claim or not. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to go over where everything's at right now. It's kind of just a complete mess, so I guess we'll see as the story develops. That's really about it. See ya. A big YouTuber named Eric Conover, almost 3 million subscribers, is facing a multitude of serious charges, including attempted murder. That's not Weenie Hut Jr. That's pretty high-level crime. If crime was Call of Duty, that would be pretty close to hitting prestige level. And he's spoken recently, and he basically cut like a WWE promo, like, you got it all wrong, and if you ever question my mental competence, I will come snap you in half like a Kit Kat, I swear to God. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but he did talk about how he would eviscerate anyone that questions his mental competence. It's really weird shit. He's claiming it's all a massive misunderstanding, but let's go ahead and set the stage here, the lore that you need to know. Eric is a very successful YouTuber whose content focuses on these luxury mansion tours. He goes and does all of these bougie real estate videos where he shows you these dreadfully overpriced locations. I can't believe I've never seen his channel. I wasn't familiar with him until this story because I have been so deep in that rabbit hole of consuming that content, of touring these ridiculously overpriced property that are just dog shit, where it's like a $55 million mansion tour. This house comes with sci-fi amenities. You walk in and it has a new mother. It cloned your previous mother. It also has an automaton that'll whip up a charcuterie board anytime you ask it to. The shower's made out of plutonium, platinum, and other rare earth minerals. The sink faucets are vibranium, and it also has this 15,000-year-old oak tree planted right in the middle to help with your chakras, that kind of garbage. He does those, that's like his bread and butter content, but I'd never seen him before. I didn't know about him until this story, which is surprising. But not nearly surprising as the crimes that he is accused of committing. So what happened is, an officer visually estimated that he was driving at speeds of around 55 to 60 in a zone where that was excessively fast, so he began to pursue Conover and managed to get him stopped through various maneuvers. The officer exited his vehicle and moved around to the rear of his cruiser, and Mr. Conover allegedly backed his vehicle, rapidly pointed it directly at the officer, and accelerated at him, striking him at a reasonably high rate of speed, and it was alleged that the officer flew between 20 and 40 feet. They also said we're very fortunate that an amateur drone operator was in the air when he saw the interaction and was able to capture it on video. That video has not been released yet. I imagine it won't, because it's going to be a crucial piece of evidence in this, I would imagine. But I would also guess there's body cam footage too. Now, there is footage of the chase that's been released. It's very short footage filmed by someone who was nearby on rollerblades and just happened to capture him fleeing from the police, as well as some footage of the vehicle once they got it stopped. Eric is claiming that he is not the same Eric Conover police want for the attempted murder on that officer. Eric Conover, the YouTuber, is from New York, not New Jersey, as authorities claim, stating, "This seems to be a massive misunderstanding. I'm exactly who I say I am. I'm a YouTuber." Now, we all know YouTubers are some of the most respected individuals on the planet. Their reputation is spotless, up there with like firefighters. So him saying that is a big deal. Also, he loves to mention how successful he is as a YouTuber. That's like a core part of his whole personality, even during all of this. He's also currently facing some DWI charges for an arrest that allegedly happened just days earlier, and then when he went to court, as I mentioned at the beginning, he put on quite the performance. He tried to be like the fucking Joker or something there. This guy, he was looking for some kind of Oscar nomination for some really over-the-top villainous acting. He looked unhinged.
Everything right here, and it's all been falsified.
Eric Conover had a lot to say before his arraignment this afternoon.
If anyone dares try to test my mental competence, I will eviscerate every single person with my intelligence right now. And
he's like Charles Xavier from Logan. His intelligence is so supreme he can blow us away with a single thought. This man is a transcendent being.
It's not being egotistical.
Police paperwork says the pursuit started after Conover was going 55 in a 35. After 8 miles, Conover stopped and an officer attempted to de-escalate the situation, but Conover allegedly drove at him and hit him in the leg and then sped off for another 28 miles.
Our Father who art in heaven.
The paperwork...
If I had to venture a guess here, when he got pulled over, he was probably drinking, didn't want another DUI, so he sped at the officer, hit the officer, and drove away. So, not exactly, you know, jaywalking charges or an ounce of weed.
The officer was thrown 40 feet, suffering a leg injury. Conover is facing several charges, including attempted murder.
Mom, thank God, look at me!
Today in court, Conover was outspoken, claiming that he's a public figure because of his nearly 3 million subscribers on YouTube, and saying this was part of a, quote, police sting against him.
View the police reports in this matter, denies these allegations. He does not agree with the reports as they are stated.
The defense asked...
I'm very curious what he denies there. If he hit the officer, physically hit the officer with his car and drove away... That's kind of like a tough one to say that it's wrong. Like, no, that's fabricated. It's CGI. That wasn't me. It couldn't have been me. I'm 12 years old. I can't drive yet. Like, I don't even know what strategy he's trying to employ. Nah, he ran into my car. Oh, wait, maybe. Yeah, actually. No, you see, he ran at me, and he threw himself off of my car 40 feet. And then the jump scare was a lot, so I panicked and I drove away.
Police say he was arrested Friday night for a separate drunk driving charge, which Conover denies.
I've been sober from alcohol for 1,558 days, so to press me on a DUI, I'm a public figure.
The judge did hold Conover in preventative detention. He's due back.
Yeah, Eric Conover's facing right down the pipe of a lot of things here. It's a laundry list. He's got the DWI, the attempted murder charge, the first-degree assault against a police officer, as well as second-degree assault, reckless conduct with a deadly weapon, conduct after an accident, disobeying an officer, and reckless driving. Man's out here trying to get the platinum trophy for crimes. This is a lot, and it's all very serious. And it seems like he's trying to claim all of the information is falsified, all of the evidence is hooey, it's a load of fucking dirty barnacles, they've got the wrong guy, it's a misunderstanding. He's a big successful YouTuber, it definitely wasn't him, this is truly just a big old mix-up. Now, from what I saw, over the last, 10 or 11 days, he had been posting some very concerning stuff on Instagram, and his community was concerned for his mental state. Now, I don't mean to summon the wrath of Eric the Megamind himself right now. I know he said he'd eviscerate anyone that would do so. I'm hoping he won't tear my flesh from my bones using nothing but his intelligence, but it is something his community was worried about with the things he was posting on Instagram, and the one that I keep seeing pop up is this picture. Yeah, the pharmaceutical industry tried to gaslight me that I needed medication too, when all you need is some discipline of your emotional state. That didn't age super well. I don't think the emotional state was controlled optimally. Now, his community was saying that what he was holding was olanzapine, which is apparently used to treat either bipolar disorder or symptoms of schizophrenia, and people are saying that him being off of this medication is most likely the cause for the concerning posts and the spiral that he seems to have been in on Instagram. And while, of course, I'm no expert here, I would say that it does probably play a role in everything that has happened recently with him, as well as his behavior in the court at the hearing there. That kind of stuff is always pretty sad to me, where someone has medication for a very serious thing like that, and then they decide to stop, and then things just fucking spiral out of control for them. But anyway, very wild story here that I just wanted to talk about briefly. That's really about it. So yeah. Yesterday, Ava Kris Tyson of the Mr. Beast crew had a ton of evidence surface about horrible behavior with how they communicated with minors, as well as a past of really disgusting shit. A lot of people are calling the Season 7 writers of 2024 internet drama lazy because they're reusing a similar plotline. A lot of people drew comparisons to Dr. Disrespect recently being outed for talking inappropriately to a minor. There are tons of screenshots to showcase exactly what was being said to someone who was between 13 and 14 years old at the time, and it's fucking gross. It's completely unacceptable. Some of them were just public tweets right under everyone's nose. So, Ava Tyson was an adult at this point. Lava was a child. And saying things like, I posted some fire nudes for you, please no share, and then other shit like, but not $5 pathetic JK kissy face, they seem to communicate a lot, even sending Snapchats. So here's one that says, coming for America, and then goes on to talk about being in a group chat and everything. And I've seen a lot of people try and cope and deflect saying like, oh, it's just edgy jokes, people are blowing this out of proportion. What a bunch of fucking nonsense. That's a load of hooey. That's dirty barnacles. That's ridiculous. Under no circumstances should an adult be communicating with a child in any inappropriate manner whatsoever. Edgy jokes between an adult and a child are still fucking gross. That's not like the slam dunk defense that some people seem to think it is. Under no circumstances should an adult be in a group chat with a bunch of children sending "coming for America" pictures. Like, that's still bad. That's still horrible. That's still really fucking weird. From what I can tell, most of the screenshots and a lot of the compiled evidence comes from this YouTuber, Prism42. This seems to be where most of it started, and since this video dropped, there's been a lot more screenshots that have come out with all kinds of really bad things that were being said to or about minors. I've only shown a couple here, but there's quite a bit more, and they're all just as bad, if not worse. Like, for some reason, Ava Tyson had a habit of calling a 13 or 14-year-old daddy. Like, you can't just write that off as being, like, quirky, inappropriate, edgy jokes that people are blowing out of proportion. That's unacceptable. It's indefensible. Now, the 13, 14-year-old in question for a lot of these messages is someone that has come forward to give their own accounts of the situation, and according to them, they don't believe that they were groomed or anything bad was done on the part of Ava Tyson or anything like that. And I'll just go ahead and give my take on it here. I talked about it on stream, and I'm not trying to be some kind of armchair psychologist because I'm just, at the end of the day, a little reptile brain idiot. But I really do feel like in a situation like this, it's very difficult to process just how inappropriate or unacceptable something was when you lived it. I imagine that it's very difficult to view this as the person that you communicated to so closely for so long was actually evil or doing things that were wrong. But in reality, no child should have this kind of relationship with an adult where you're joking about sending nudes to a minor or making edgy jokes about coming for America. So while the person here might not feel like a victim, it really is completely unacceptable that Ava Tyson would be communicating with them like this. It really is, no matter how it's spun. Now, it is important to mention that right now, most of the evidence is screenshots, so I guess there is the chance that some could be faked, but some of them seem very hard to fake, like there's a video going through a Snapchat conversation with Ava. There's also confirmed things that were publicly tweeted from their account over the years, which I'll get to now. And it was also revealed that Ava Tyson had a history of being a Shadman enthusiast. Since all of the tweets have been deleted, it makes it very difficult to find the times that they communicated with Shadman or talked about Shadman and the art, but I did find this from Mudahar's video, who went to the Wayback Machine and showcased this tweet. And Mudahar censored it because the character does not appear to be over the age of 18. For those of you that know that name, that might have just triggered a Winter Soldier moment in your brain with your eyes rolling into the back of your skull, because it is so foul. Shadman was an artist who drew child porn. Now, when you hear that, a lot of people think that you're talking about lolly or lolly hentai type shit, which is characters that look like little girls but are actually 5,000-year-old vampires. Like, that's the meme. Fucking sipping from their Mountain Dew going, uncultured swine. You see, it's not actually a real child. This is a victimless crime. This may look like a 4-year-old girl, but you don't understand the lore. She's actually coming from a sophisticated line of goblin ogres, and she is over 400 years old. So it's completely legal, and you're weird for thinking that it's weird. But with Shadman, he wasn't drawing lolly. He was drawing real children sexually. So one of the most infamous cases was when he drew Keemstar's 8-year-old daughter in a pornographic setting. That actual fucking lunatic drew porn of an 8-year-old girl. That's not hearsay or anything. That is something that actually happened. And you know what's even crazier? I talked about this on stream. A lot of people supported him publicly. Like, a lot of people defended that. Back when Shadman dropped that revolting dog shit, there was a lot of people that were pumping their fists saying, "Go Shadman! It's Keemstar, who cares? Doesn't matter, he deserves it anyway. Shadman, do you take requests? Can you do this person's underage daughter next?" He received applause for drawing child porn. Let that shit marinate for a moment. So anyway, Ava Tyson has publicly tweeted about lolly, and in particular, there are tweets of Ava Tyson talking either to or about Shadman. A lot of the tweets are gone now because the Twitter account has been nuked, but there are archives of a lot of them. And one thing that still persists, and one thing that a lot of people have been showing, is that Ava Tyson may have actually commissioned a piece from Shadman, or at the very least, purchased a piece from Shadman. There's a clip from a Mr. Beast video where there is Shadman art hanging on the wall, belonging to Ava Tyson. I censored the close-up of the art for obvious reasons, but this is something that is irrefutable. The only question about Ava Tyson and Shadman's connection is whether or not a piece was commissioned or purchased. But at the very least, a piece was owned by Ava Tyson. And I don't think there's any wiggle room to just explain this away as some kind of innocent whoops-a-daisy moment of being ignorant of what the art was. With Ava Tyson having publicly talked about content and art like that, and then also owning a Shadman piece, I don't think it's some kind of coincidence. Like, I don't think it was an accident and they didn't know Shadman drew child porn. I really don't. And then yet another disturbing video surfaced where they had actually made a video a long time ago that linked to revenge porn of Jeanette McCurdy.
The story is she sent pictures to her boyfriend, her now ex-boyfriend, and he leaked them out. And but the link's in the description if you want to see them. I mean, I'm not endorsing people to go look at somebody else's private business, but I know that you know, people might want to see them, so it's there if you want it.
That's crazy. That's astonishing. Sharing revenge porn publicly and trying to spin it like, well, some people might want to see this, so for you degenerates, I've posted the link in the description. If you want to check that out. But you'd be weird to do that, and I'm not endorsing it. That's unhinged. Completely unhinged. So all of this started to hit the mainstream. More and more people started sharing screenshots as well as other chat logs, all kinds of things with a history of communicating inappropriately with or about minors. And in response, a couple hours ago, Ava Tyson did make a statement, and this is what was said. I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things Mr. Beast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. That is kind of a textbook non-apology. It doesn't address anything. It doesn't talk about anything. It's just like this blanket boilerplate statement about stepping away. There's no denial of anything, no claims that some of the information is false, made up, fabricated, a lie, a fib, a bunch of malarkey, nothing at all. You would really think that if any of the information was wrong or faked, that would be one of the first things that Ava Tyson would want to set the record straight on. But that didn't happen. Even if it was something like needing more time, I really feel like that would have been expressed in the statement, saying, need more time to talk about all of these things that are incorrect. But again, that's not there. So they're assumed to be all correct at this point, and they're indefensible, the things that have come out here. As I was rendering this video, Ava Tyson dropped more tweets claiming that no one was ever groomed, and then states that the victim vocally supported that that's false. I again, already told you my feelings on that. I really don't think a child who has this kind of relationship with an adult would ever really recognize just how inappropriate it was because it became so normalized to them, which it never should be. It's a horrible thing, and there really is no excusing it in my eyes. Going further, there's an apology about unacceptable social media posts and then saying that it was edgy jokes and that it was unacceptable humor, that it's like a thing of the past and it's been misconstrued into things that didn't happen, and then not wanting the accusations to impact hundreds of people who work at Mr. Beast, which is why Ava Tyson has stepped away. I just don't think you can write off a lot of those social media posts as edgy jokes or edgy humor when you actually owned art from an artist who draws child porn. That's not a joke anymore. Haha, bought some child porn art. Like, that's not exactly side-splitting comedy. Like, I don't really think you can just go ahead and hand wave that as being edgy and like old humor that you've grown from. And then some of the tweets about it and like requests, what's the joke? Like, what's the punchline of that? I really don't think you can just say, oh, it's just edgy jokes that are blown out of proportion. Sorry if people are offended by it. Like, that just doesn't really work to me. As of right now, there's been no response from Mr. Beast or anyone else on the team about all of this. So it remains to be seen whether or not Jimmy or anyone else on the team knew about these things or what's going on there. But as of me making this video, there's still no response yet. So this whole situation is obviously horrible. And there's a little bit more I want to talk about here. And it's something I didn't even think I'd ever need to talk about, but I guess we've reached this point in the internet where this is necessary. I've been being attacked on Twitter, just fucking dogpiled, about my ignoring the situation and refusing to speak on it, being too much of a coward to talk about all this, which is crazy to me. And then people saying like, oh, where was the same energy for where was the same energy that you had for Dr. Disrespect here? And it's crazy that I even have to talk about this. So last night during stream, this story was still breaking. Things were still coming out about this story. And I talked about it on stream last night. The same day all of these pieces of evidence were surfacing. I talked about it immediately. Once I became aware of what the evidence was out there and what the claims were and what was going on, I was talking about it right away. And I even posted a video that is highly edited and short, nice and concise, about the whole bare bones of the situation and my thoughts on it for the second channel, so that way even if you have the biggest brain rot and can't focus on a video for long, you can still finish that whole video and see just how bad this whole Ava Tyson situation is. So I talked about it immediately, but Twitter didn't see that video, and the ones that did wrote it off as, oh, he's only going to put this on his second channel because he's afraid to put it on his main channel. He didn't do that for Dr. Disrespect. He was like that with Dr. Disrespect. You are provably wrong. All you had to do was activate a few fucking neurons in your noodle. Check my Dr. Disrespect video. I posted it at, I think it was 9 p.m. on June 22nd. June 22nd is when my Dr. Disrespect video went up. The allegation against Dr. Disrespect was on June 21st. So what happened is, that allegation came out. I talked about it on stream. Dr. Disrespect made a statement as well the same day that I talked about on stream. Then the following day, almost a full 24 hours later, I made the video talking about it. And in this situation, it is the exact same timeline. I was talking about it as everything was unfolding. I even had a video go up on the second channel going over everything that was coming out, and now I'm making the full video about it 24 hours later. It's the exact same speed and same energy as the Dr. Disrespect situation. And the main person who started this lightning rod of accusations about me ducking it and refusing to address it is fucking Sneako of all people.
Yo, look out, Moist Critical is not gonna go talk about the Kris situation because he wants to have the Mr. Beast collab. Bro, you're gonna talk about every other trending situation, Dr. Disrespect, Sneako, anything that goes viral goes on your main channel. Kris, the associate of the biggest YouTube channel in the world, you do a 4-minute clip on your second channel. Stop coping and be a journalist if you're gonna be a journalist, or just say that you wanna have the collab. Stop lying.
Jesus Christ, the fucking drool there is gonna drive me insane. I need to go put on the fucking bathrobe here and give him PTSD or something. What do you mean it is a 4-minute clip? Because I did that so people like you who don't pay attention long enough could see my take on it and also get the bare bones information of what makes it so horrible. That's the reason it's a 4-minute clip on the second channel. It was never going to be the only video I made talking about it. I was always going to make a full breakdown of this because it's bad. It's a horrible situation. So yes, you're right. I do talk about like big trending bad shit like Dr. Disrespect or like Cody most recently. I don't know why people thought I wouldn't talk about this. I knew Cody far more than I knew Ava Tyson. I talked to Cody at length one time on his podcast and then one other time in DMs. Ava Tyson, I met 1.5 times. I first met them after a poker game with Mr. Beast. They showed up right at the end, right before I left. And then at the most recent Mr. Beast video, also right when I got out, Ava Tyson showed up and I talked to them for a couple of minutes. But I never knew Ava Tyson very well. Cody I did, and I still wasn't afraid to talk about how awful his shit was. So I've never been someone to fucking shy away from a bad situation like this just because I know or am familiar with the person that it's about. So I don't know why people thought that that would be the case here. And also, for the millionth fucking time, I'm not a journalist. I'm like the Z-tier stupid journalist, like this actual layman fucking CTE-riddled idiot that reports on stories, and I talk about them usually to make jokes about them. In rare cases, and recently it's been very common, there's serious stories that I am very passionate about delivering and talking about how shitty they are. So like in a situation like this, yeah, this isn't really a story that I joke a lot about because it is serious. When there is a victim who is a child here, that's something to take seriously. But I'm not a fucking journalist. Most of the shit I talk about is the most inconsequential mumbo jumbo ever, like aliens in warp drives, or that recent story about how scientists discovered hippos can fly because they get airborne for a split second, literally like 1/2 of a frame. They're able to get all 4 little legs off the ground. And I talk about those stories and joke about them. It's just talking about shit to joke about it for the most part, except in cases like this, where it is a serious story that I talk about. Now, Sneako, I hope you're ready for the cold water here, because I'm going to be brutally honest with you. When this story broke, I thought for sure, I would have actually bet money that you would have been some kind of contrarian talking about how this is actually not a big deal and everyone who's pretending to be outraged about it is actually just a hypocrite. Because you have been on this crusade for a while now about not agreeing with the age of consent. So I really thought you'd be talking about how, oh, this is just like Dr. Disrespect, who you ran hard defense for with this imaginary 17-year-old you cooked up in your head based off of one fake email from an anonymous source. And I thought you would be going that angle again, saying like, oh, well, that 13-year-old was probably very mature.
Age of consent should be maturity. It's not even 18 in most states. Why do you even believe that? It's because in Hollywood, it's 18, so that gets pushed everywhere. Most places, 16. And if you question that, then they call you a pedo. I believe the age of consent is the age of maturity. It should be called the age of marriage. Age of consent implies that you're gonna have out of wedlock. I think it's better that people get married at 16, 17 than to have a bunch of premarital until they're 30 and they're washed up and then they get jaded and they're on birth control and they have dried up eggs. I think that's better for society.
He's so pseudo-intellectual that he actually argues for things that defend pedophilia. That's fucking ridiculous. And when challenged on this, it's even worse. So there's an older clip now, it's quite a few months old, where XQC and Destiny actually challenge him on this right to his face, and holy shit, it's bad.
You see how you want to answer the question? You see how he's going to yap and not answer the question? I'm going to ask the same thing when you're done. Go ahead.
I just answered the question. I just told you.
What was the age?
I just told you at a developed age.
Sneako thinks you should be able to fuck 9-year-olds. That's what Sneako thinks, and he won't answer that question honestly. Or he's going to have to give a different answer, in which case he's updated his morality. He's updated his views, and that's really uncomfortable for him. You don't have an answer to any of this shit, bro. Go back to fucking that fucking corner in London where you're getting roasted by year 1 debaters on fucking Christianity. This is retarded. I don't know what the fuck you're doing in here.
Okay, so you can leave the call. I wanted to go talk about this word.
I don't want to leave the call. I like hanging out here. I've talked to a lot of pedophiles in the past, so.
Okay.
Okay, Sneako, I'm actually curious now. What do you think the age of development is?
I just told you. It depends on where you are. It depends on the world.
Then at what stage do you think somebody is developed in? What stage of development? Because there's a lot of stages of development.
It varies. I don't think
varies. It varies on what?
I think it varies on the age.
It varies on the age?
It depends on where you are.
You need to have set ages for that. There are stages of development. As a child, an adolescent,
you can hear him start to snivel in the background there as he's sucking up snot from his nose, getting cooked, and his brain is fucking overheating, malfunctioning, trying to formulate some kind of response to the easiest question in the world about what he thinks the age of consent should be. He keeps talking about the age of development and then can't even put a number on it. So everyone, please feel free to ask Sneako what he thinks the age of consent should be if you want to see a human being fucking glitch out and malfunction like an Oblivion NPC. Can't answer the most basic question in the world. That is concerning. You realize how deranged that makes you look, Sneako? That makes you look like an actual danger to society, that you don't agree with the age of consent and try and argue around it. That's what every pedophile ever that Chris Hansen talked to would do. Like, you're a fucking weirdo. So for you, of all people, this fucking putrid vermin, this absolute slimy worm, to have the gall to say that I only care about the Mr. Beast collab, thus this whole story is just relegated to, you'd never use that word's too big for you. This whole story is just put on his second channel where no one's gonna see it because it's safer that way so he can keep the Mr. Beast collab alive. He's afraid, he's a coward for it. He has no problem abandoning his morals and defending blatant pedophilia, brushing it under the rug as long as it means it keeps the Mr. Beast collab alive. For you to make insinuations like that, and even claims like that, is fucking unhinged, considering you make actual pedophile defense arguments constantly, and you have publicly put on the clown makeup and worn white knight armor complete with the shield to defend Dr. Disrespect when he himself publicly admitted to messaging a minor inappropriately. It's fucking insanity. It makes me want to spit that I even have to talk about this, but it became such a huge fiery issue on Twitter about me specifically that I felt the need to have to include this in this video, which should have been entirely focused on everything Ava Tyson has done and why it is so shitty. But now I've had to dedicate a sizable chunk to talking about these claims against me, about how I'm not going to talk about it and was not going to talk about it until pressure from Twitter forced me to, even though I had talked about it as it was developing and even mentioned on stream I was going to make a video on it. So to bring it all back to what should actually be the focus, the Ava Tyson situation and how horrible it is, I believe that it is an unforgivable thing that has been done. Talking to minors inappropriately is horrible. And having this kind of continued relationship with a minor where you're sharing edgy and inappropriate jokes back and forth and being in group chats and voice chats with children and saying gross things around them is so weird that it is not okay under any situation. It's disgusting behavior. And publicly supporting an artist who draws child porn and even owning art from that artist and talking about art like that and the revenge porn, all of it is very fucking bad. It's horrible. I'm not pulling any punches here on my feelings around it. So yes, I wanted to talk about this, and that's really about it. See ya. Cody Co is a YouTuber that probably doesn't need an introduction. I don't need to read the Wikipedia article explaining to you who he is and lore dumping. I'm sure most of you are at least loosely familiar with his content. He's been very large on the platform for years now. And recently, some disturbing allegations have come out against him. Now, the allegations against him aren't exactly brand new. They're not, fresh off the battle bus, hot drop in here out of nowhere. They've actually existed for a little while now, but never actually received a lot of coverage or a lot of attention. Kind of just been sidelined with people not knowing about it or not talking about it until yesterday when another YouTuber named D'Angelo Wallace gave some amazing coverage breaking down the entire situation here and going over everything that Cody Co is accused of.
Someone has been alleging for years now that you, one of the largest commentary creators on YouTube, knowingly committed a crime against her when she was a minor. But YouTubers and viewers alike are ignoring and discrediting these allegations solely because the person making them happens to be an unlikable woman online, Tana Mojo.
Yikes. Yeah, that's some pretty awful shit right there. That's a huge allegation that actually has a lot of evidence backing it up, which D'Angelo Wallace covers in great detail in this video. It's not some imaginary nothing burger that someone squeaked out between their butt cheeks to try and ruin Cody Co. It's a serious accusation that appears to have a lot of evidence about it.
I'm not here to accuse you of committing a crime in this video because I can't do that based on someone else's allegations. Nobody can definitively take these allegations as proof, but at the same time, they should still be looked at and not treated as an open secret and swept under the rug like you've been doing for so many years now.
I think that's a great point. Even though these are still allegations with nothing that's been proven, since there is so much supporting evidence around the claims, it definitely is something that needs to be examined thoroughly because it is a huge deal.
And speaking of this podcast, about a month ago, she hosted a live episode in front of an audience, and the conversation turned to you.
Who's the smallest you've ever had sex with? Oh my god, no one look at me, Cody Co. I can say that. I was literally 17, I can say that.
This clip started making the rounds and people were understandably perturbed because if Tana Mojo was 17, you would have been 25. So people started speculating and Tana decided to set the record straight.
I hooked up with Cody Co when I was 17 and he was 25.
I'm going to go ahead and break down these numbers here because it seems like people are starting to struggle with math, like teriology starting to pop off with 1 × 1 = 2 and all that. I'm just going to go ahead and explain this. 17 is less than 18. Thus, that is below the age of consent and is a crime. And I already have seen comments on this situation about 17, who gives a fuck? That's basically 18 anyway. And it's this same dog shit, brain dead, concerning mentality, like your hard drive needs to be investigated type shit that we saw with Dr. Disrespect, where they're like, no one should really care that Dr. Disrespect was talking inappropriately with a 17-year-old. Even though, once again, you absolute fucking Cro-Magnon, there is no evidence that Dr. Disrespect ever talked to a 17-year-old. Not even he said that. It has only ever been stated as a minor. Everyone around Dr. Disrespect never mentioned 17. It's actual delusional Fantasyland Narnia type shit where people are trying to defend him by saying it was actually a 17-year-old, 364 days old. which is absolute fucking barnacles. Like, that's a load of fish paste. And even still, it's bad. I don't know how we've devolved so much where all of a sudden 17 is now something people try and justify. So like in this case right here, you'll have some drooling, stinky, bumbling morons in the comments saying how it's not a big deal because 17 shouldn't be an issue. You know, like, age of consent over in this region is actually 16, so really, he waited till she was old. Like, it's craziness. It's actually craziness. It is a crime. It is a minor. Still, it's bad. Like, I don't know why that needs to be explained all of a sudden. Now, something D'Angelo Wallace does make a point of here is pointing out that Tana Mongeau is not well liked. I am sure if you've been on YouTube for any length of time, you've heard her name and seen a lot of less than stellar things about her. She has a history of lying and putting on a lot of bad stuff and bad behavior. However, when it comes to this claim, this doesn't appear to be something that she's just lying about for clout to try and elevate her platform on the back of Cody Ko's good name or anything like that. This is a story that's been told even a few years in the past about this situation here. So this isn't something that she just pulled out of thin air. This is actually an allegation that has existed for a long time that is only just now starting to surface.
She claims that not only were you fully aware of her age at the time, but someone even tried to stop you and you went ahead anyway.
There was a situation with Gabby Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17, and then we still went and hooked up.
To be clear, 17 is under the age of consent in many states, including Florida, where Playlist Live used to take place. So this means that Tana Mongeau is accusing you of statutory rape, and she's not trying to hide that.
This isn't just some crazy tea. It was a crime.
Remember how Tana said that fellow YouTuber Gabby Hanna tried to stop you before everything allegedly went down? Well, did you know that Gabby is actually on record telling the exact same story several years ago?
One time, I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know, I know she like looks a little older, she's underage, watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he turned that.
This is really, really bad.
Really, really bad indeed. Pardon my potty mouth here, but this is fucking disgusting. Like, this is by far the most compelling piece of evidence presented because this is a completely separate third-party individual coming forward now with the same story years ago. Exactly how Tana described it. Finding this clip was huge. I don't even know how it was unearthed. Huge props for finding this ancient artifact because apparently it had been scrubbed from like everywhere. I don't even know how you would have even gone about finding something like this, but I really think it is an important piece to this story. It's a very strong piece of evidence, and it should hopefully showcase that this isn't just something Tana is making up on the spot for attention or anything like that. This is something that has been talked about for years. There's a lot of comments that get shown in the video with people shitting on Tana for bringing this up, like, oh, this is prehistoric, why would you ever bring this up now? You just want attention, you absolute harpy. Oh, who cares? This is bullshit, it's all a lie anyway, all you do is lie. Liar, liar, plants for hire. You harlot, those kind of comments, like unhinged people about this. And I really think that this Gabby Hanna clip that's been provided should shut that garbage down. Of course, it doesn't prove 100%, you know, the authenticity of everything. As D'Angelo Wallace also explains, these are still allegations. But that is a pretty substantial piece of evidence there that should at least show why this needs to be talked about and should absolutely be addressed directly by Cody.
People make accusations all the time, specifically regarding things that are very difficult to prove or disprove, unfortunate as that may be. But when somebody makes an allegation and they say they have a witness, and that witness can be found telling the exact same story years before any of this came out, that's not something I can just ignore. In a situation that cannot be proven, corroboration by a third party goes a long way. I'm not accusing you of committing a crime, but even if what Tana says is false, your silence is still grossly incompetent at best.
It really is a pretty bad strategy here. This isn't something John Madden would draw up in the playbook. Burying his head in the sand and hoping that the storm blows through doesn't exactly work in a situation like this. I mean, I guess it has up till this point since so few people were aware of it, But now that it's being talked about more and more, I do think that he's going to need to come forward about all of it. There is quite a bit of time in the video dedicated to the community's response to the allegations, because it is bad how, like, viewers have responded to all of this. Basically, and it is a good point that D'Angelo Wallace made, because Tana Mongeau is widely disliked by the broader YouTube audience, when she was the one putting these claims out there, people attacked her, like dogpiled her for saying things like this. Like, they jumped on her like she had just, you know, killed a puppy in front of them. Like, people responded to her in the worst possible way with these allegations. And Tana made a really good point where she said if this was any other YouTuber she was talking about, one that wasn't as highly regarded as Cody, the response would be completely different, where she'd be getting sympathetic messages and support for coming forward with her experience. But because it's Cody, it's been a biblical smackdown in the comments against her, which is just like a crazy response to something like this. I mean, there were some lunatics there, like genuinely hateful people saying like the most misogynistic shit you could find in the comment section about this because she dared come forward with her experience and talk about that situation. Now again, yes, they are allegations. Nothing has been proven, but there is a lot of evidence here that should at the very least get a response from Cody Co about all of this. And it's not like he's not aware of what's happening. As pointed out in this video, he is seemingly censoring his YouTube comment section.
And now you're choosing censorship. On your YouTube channel, where you've been pumping out content nearly every day now, I couldn't find a single comment on your last video about this situation. Not even one. Comparing that to the comment section on your Instagram, where every single comment I saw was about this, it's clear that you're heavily censoring your audience on YouTube.
I actually went and checked this myself because this is a Lego build that you can follow along with at home. I went to his latest upload and clicked newest in the comment section because surely you'd see some now after this is being blown up into a huge story. But even when filtering on his newest upload by newest comments, I still only found a couple of comments that referenced this. So it really does seem like it's being heavily censored in the YouTube comments. Because with how big the story is, you would expect a lot of them, especially when you look at his Instagram. But somehow, nothing on YouTube? Yeah, that's very suspicious. That definitely smells like he is censoring the comments there. So it's not like he doesn't know what's going on here. Tana also said that he had reached out at some point kind of about this, saying like, are we good? So it's not something that he's just unaware of, and that's why he hasn't addressed it. D'Angelo Wallace also points out how he's responded to things in the past, like he paywalled an apology for like an old clip that surfaced where he was using a slur. So he's talking about like the history of responding poorly to situations that Cody finds himself in. And then he brought up this, which I'd never heard of.
Not many people know that you've already lost fans over an eerily similar topic. You used to frequently feature and promote your college friend Colby Leachman in your videos, until it came out that during your school days, Leachman's university put him on probation for, as a United States District Judge would later put it, the non-consensual videotaping of a sex act with another student, showing the video to other people, lying to the police about the video, and behaving horribly to that individual and at least one other woman. To make matters worse, the woman in the video also alleged that Leachman drugged her before the recording and that she hadn't actually consented to anything at all. You had this man in your videos. You were telling us to follow him on Instagram, and at some point you did wise up, so he's no longer part of your content, but he still seems like he's very much a part of your friend group. From the continued hangout since then to inviting him to your wedding just last year, people are under the impression that you're best friends with someone who, at best, committed an illegal sex act and at worst is an alleged rapist. And no matter how many times people rediscover this information over the years, you refuse to say anything at all.
That is baffling to me. Like, it's one thing to be friends with someone who turns out to be a monster, but once you learn that they're a monster, that's where it should stop. I've said this before. If my best friend Matt turned out to have like a secret double life, you know, a Jekyll and Hyde situation where Matt goes out there and he does something truly heinous, I would cut them out of my life. I wouldn't be able to go forward being friends with someone like that. You know, giving him a fist bump saying, hey, we're still bubble buddies, bro. Like, I couldn't do that. So it's so weird to me that Cody can, and when people have talked about it in the past, apparently Cody has just ignored it. That is very, very odd.
I haven't seen a single channel over 1 million subscribers do so much as acknowledge that this situation exists. And I'm not talking about channels that never would have discussed something like this either. I mean the same channels that were rightfully calling out people like Dr. Disrespect for texting a minor, which are the same channels that are now completely ignoring a scenario with an even bigger creator being accused of doing something much worse.
D'Angelo Wallace makes a point a couple times in this video about the silence on this subject being staggering, considering in the YouTube ecosystem there's tons of commentary channels that'll cover a wide variety of topics, sometimes rumors that aren't nearly this serious, you know, like a 2-part docuseries on that time Markiplier allegedly pooped without peeing. Or, in my case, I'll make a whole rant going over how aliens probably aren't visiting us via theoretical warp drives to haunt our boners. And yet, somehow, a story that's this serious just slips through the cracks and didn't have many people talking about it until very recently. So I'd like to at least take a quick moment here to explain why I hadn't covered it. Now, I did hear the whispers about this Cody Co allegation about a week ago now, where someone in stream chat had mentioned, hey, have you heard what Cody Co apparently did with Tana Mojo? And on stream I asked what they were talking about because I hadn't heard shit about that. Eventually another chatter explained that I could find more information about it on Reddit because a conversation was starting to develop around those allegations, so I made like a note of it and then went to bed. The following day I got home pretty late and then went to follow up on things from the previous night, because sometimes during stream I'll make like tabs about what people are telling me to look up. I don't do react content on stream or anything anymore, so if it's like a video that people are recommending I check out to get caught up on something or whatever, I'll make a tab for that video and then watch it when I get back to the following day. And when it came to the Cody Co thing with the Reddit post, by the time I got to it, it was deleted. So I kind of assumed that maybe the claims were just baloney, and I didn't see a whole lot of chatter about it. I saw a couple of tweets that loosely talked around it, vaguely, and I just didn't look into it deeper than that. And I recognize now that that was a mistake, so I'm sorry for that. But I just didn't find a lot of information at the time, until, of course, last night when D'Angelo Wallace posted the video covering all of this. So I know the speculation has been made that the reason people aren't talking about the Cody Co situation is because he's a channel that a lot of people respect and is friends with a lot of the community. So no one wants to speak out against their friend or a channel that they respect so much, thus they're trying to help, you know, bury it or not let it, you know, erupt into the mainstream. For me, that wasn't the case. When I went looking for the info after that stream, I didn't find anything, and I didn't do a big enough dive on it to access it, so I just kind of stopped looking, which, again, was a mistake, clearly. I've talked about Cody Co's content in the past. I've liked his content. I respected him as a content creator, but I'd never say that we were friends or anything. I went on his podcast one time, and I think we only ever talked in Twitter DMs once as well. We weren't exactly like inseparable friends, you know, the best of pals and buddies or anything. Like, I imagine if we walked by each other in a crowded mall, we'd do one of these to each other, and that'd probably be the end of it. This isn't some kind of story that I was avoiding or anything like that. I just truly didn't do enough digging on it because, as D'Angelo Wallace does mention, this story has been pretty successfully buried for the most part, where a lot of people just weren't aware of it, and I didn't do due diligence to become aware of it. But luckily, D'Angelo Wallace did, and created this great video going over all of it. So I wanted to talk about this because obviously it's a very serious situation. Cody Co absolutely should come forward to explain all of it, and if there is another side to this story, tell it. If it's wrong, set the record straight. It's a very upsetting story here that at the very least needs to be addressed by Cody publicly. This can't be another paywalled apology situation or anything like that. This should definitely be something that he comes forward and actually talks about. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. It's time once again for me to hop into the swamp and talk about one of the grossest bits of drama YouTube has seen in quite some time, with the EDP 445 situation. Last week I made a whole video going over everything, no stone left unturned. I was putting my cock into every briefcase full of information I could find. And now today, only a week later, a lot more has happened, and there's a lot of things that I'd like to follow up on and kind of update, because I streamed all of this, and if you missed the stream, you fucked up, big mistake, you're missing out. And so when I did that, it was still like a developing story, and now we're reaching like the conclusion here, the end of the manga. So I just wanted to go over this because it is a crazy story. The EDP 445 situation is like going to a water park, but all of the water has been exchanged for sewage instead. It's fucking gross and yucky, but it's also kind of a wild ride. Before I get into it though, there's something I want to mention. It's unrelated to all this. Today I'm doing a big charity stream for a charity I'm very passionate about called Cure Rare Disease. It's going to be a massive art stream, so if you want to see more masterpieces like this being made for charity, please tune in. It's at twitch.tv/moistcritical. It'll be going on when this video goes up and will be happening for most of the night, so please feel free to stop by. The link's in the description. I'll just hit you real quick with a brief plot summary here. EDP 445 was a massive YouTuber who got Kris by another group online called Predator Poachers. They pretended to be a 13-year-old girl who hit up EDP, and then the conversation got all sexual, and eventually they got him to try and meet with a 13-year-old girl, and that's when they really caught him in 4K. And there's a lot more to it, obviously. Like, there's even an entire saga here in the anime where EDP sent pictures of his actual shit in a toilet bowl. He sent pictures of that to the 13-year-old girl. Not that that's like super crucial in the story or anything. Like, you know, the FBI is not going to see those shit pictures and be like, well, we fucking got him now. You know, we weren't going to press charges till we saw this awful loaf of shit in the toilet. But it's something that I find to just be so weird and wacky that I can't help but mention it every time I hear or talk about the EDP story. Because I've never even heard of someone like sending shit pics. He also does send dick pics too. He plays by the meta. But the shit pics was truly something innovative. But anyway, that's basically just the story. YouTuber gets Kris and gets caught as a pedophile in a sting operation here by the Predator Poachers. And in most cases, you would expect the person behind this to be someone good looking to do something great for the community, like they did a great act catching a bad person. So you would expect most people would be patting them on the back, you know, patting them on the ass, telling them good game. But you can't really do that for the guy behind Predator Poachers. His name is Alex. And since this big bust, a lot has come out about Alex. It's a lot of awful fucking shit. Half of it I can't even begin to show on YouTube because it is really deplorable stuff. Basically what happened is the Spider-Man meme where both Spider-Men are pointing at each other, but in real life. It was like a cliche scene from an action movie right before the villain dies. He's like, I'm taking you with me. That's what happened. So they bust EDP, but then Alex gets busted as well. Tons of clips surfaced from Alex where he was being extremely racist, dropping the N-word, hard R, homophobia. He was being really creepy to a decoy, asking them to do stuff for him, claiming it was a predator asking. It was really unsettling, disturbing, gross shit. He'd also make jokes about having children in his basement that he fucks. Like, he was a weird, gross fucking guy. And since all of this came out and the story blew up, EDP 445 has been banned off YouTube, and Chet Goldstein has been banned off YouTube. Chet Goldstein was the channel that Alex would use from Predator Poachers for all of the content, and it's unclear whether or not he was banned for all the racism that was on the channel, or really what he was banned for. If I had to spitball a guess, it would probably be all of the fucking racist shit that came out, and a lot of it was on the Chet Goldstein channel. That would be my guess. But I know when I mentioned this during the initial video, a lot of people were mad at me for saying just because the guy behind it's a bad guy doesn't discredit the investigation or the work. And I never said it did. You're just actual stupid brain to think that because this guy is bad, I am now all of a sudden defending EDP. Nobody's doing that. EDP's bad, and so are the people behind it. It was a good thing done by shitty people. It happens. You can still point out the shitty people while still acknowledging the good thing. I don't know why all of a sudden that was controversial to say. And it's still controversial. Like when people point out how awful of a person Chet Goldstein was, people often get met with angry comments saying, who cares? Doesn't matter. Being racist isn't as bad as being a pedophile. But I mean, they're both bad, so you can still point them out as bad. Like, you're just fucking dumb. Anyway, let me show you some of the clips, because people were also downplaying the severity of how awful this Chet Goldstein Alex guy was. So let me just show you a little bit. Highly censored, though, because this kind of shit is awful.
Dude, you can't say fucking live stream. It's bad. Dude, then we're gonna get offended and report us. Oh, you're right. What the fuck is wrong with you? This guy just said racist creep. Where are you, black? Yeah. It's probably a fucking angry n or something. Oh, you're right. I don't want to eat anything right now. What the fuck, racist for real? I have a 3-year-old in my basement that's like lacking vitamin D. I provide her with plenty of D, just not the vitamin part.
Oh no, that's not good either.
Oh really?
Not if it's a child.
Well, I was tired of being a virgin, so what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah. Fucking Nick. Oh shit, I said that in front of 216 people.
Yeah, the guy fucking sucks ass. Like, he's not a good person. He did a good thing, but he's not a good person. You can point out the good thing and also point out that the person is bad. It's not one or the other. It can be both. EDP's bad. Chet Goldstein, Alex, Predator Poachers Alex is bad. Now, there is one thing I'd also like to set the record straight on. The guy that was with Alex when they busted EDP on camera, the guy that was wearing the mask, he is not associated with Alex. That is a completely different person named CC Unit. He is not, like, affiliated with Alex and his shit. He doesn't, like, sign off on it or anything from everything I've seen from the guy. He just happened to collaborate with them on this case, and unfortunately, like a porta potty being rocked back and forth, got caught in the crossfire of shit. Which is unfortunate because, I mean, he was probably a good guy and probably had good intentions. He's been doing this for a lot of years from what I can tell. Whereas Alex was just looking to capitalize and make money off it. He was pumping merch through it. When you went to the website, all it was payment plans for like Predator Poacher merch, and him saying he'll come to your city to do like a stand-up routine and put like a finger in his butthole, smell it and laugh. Like, all Alex wanted was money out of it, and he got like 100,000 subs. He wouldn't even post the video till it got fully monetized. But CC Unit is not affiliated with that. He's completely separate and just happened to be there and collab with him on the day that they busted EDP. So I actually really do feel bad for that guy, assuming that he doesn't have a past like Alex, but from what I've seen, he does seem to just genuinely want to help make the community a better place. Now, don't pump those brakes yet, because this ride is still going. You can't get the fuck out of here. This is Mr. Bones' wild ride. This is a never-ending adventure here. The biggest development is absolutely the authorities getting involved and saying that they are going to look into the case. But they also acknowledge that it could be a bit difficult given that this is not a very well-conducted investigation by people that are less than professional, which is a remarkable understatement. Calling Alex less than professional is like calling a shotgun blast to the chest a minor boo-boo. It just doesn't really do it justice. It doesn't really capture the magnitude of the statement. Now, in the initial video, I showed you a couple different examples. One where the Predator Poachers made it much more difficult for authorities to move in and actually apprehend a pedophile. They said that the investigation was so bad that they couldn't really sanitize it and use it, and it just made it a lot harder for them to actually get charges against the predator. So we've seen examples where the vigilante predator hunters are really counterproductive to getting a pedophile behind bars, but then in the same video I also showed you an example where they were successful and helpful in getting a predator put away for at least a small length of time. So there's really no way to know where this is going to fall, if it's going to be like this investigation just fucked the case in the ass and now all of a sudden EDP isn't going to face any charges, or if this was actually helpful to the case. Overall, like I said in the last video, I think them going public with it isn't inherently a bad thing. Even if they were just trying to use this as like a spectacle for views and money, bringing it to the public eye was probably the right call regardless, because he was a public figure with a public platform, using that platform to prey on kids. So coming public and getting that platform removed from him absolutely was the right call to combating this case in particular. But whether or not that's going to make it harder for authorities to actually put him in jail is what we're going to have to wait to find out. All I know for sure is there are no heroes in this story, but there was a good act done by a bad person. And what a fucking crazy week on YouTube it's been from all this shit. Actually, probably one of the like wildest things I've seen on the platform. And yeah, I just wanted to do a little follow-up to it. I don't know if we'll hear any more about EDP and all this, because I imagine from this point forward it's going to be between him and the authorities. So it probably won't be any more like public drama stuff on EDP, but who knows. Anyway, just wanted to follow this up, and yeah, that's about it. See ya.